Leave aside your phones, leave aside all those movies that you're watching, or Netflix, or the television that you're watching, or the soap operas that you're watching. What is the point of that?
Welcome to the Change My Way of Life podcast. Shree Krsna Guruji.
Jai Shri Krishna.
So, Guruji, in the olden days when there were Gurukuls, the child would go and they would live there. So, how would that work in today's society?
Well, even today, there are lots of, not gurukuls as such, but boarding institutions. I have seen a lot of boarding here in India, where the child stays in that boarding and he learns. Now, what happens is, again, the teachers are meant for the same curriculum. You are getting the child from morning to night. Why is it not important to teach the child all other things besides that subject as well? So teach the subjects which is there in the curriculum for, let us say, 4 hours or 5 hours. And another 4 hours, why don't you teach the child something different, many different subjects? So there is a boarding system today, no doubt about it. Some people are trying out this, Gurukul system also. I'm not saying Gurukul system is going to succeed in today's day and age, but definitely every child needs a mentor who is going to teach him everything. Let us say in the system which I have thought of in my world, because I would like to teach this kind of students. So I have trained a few of my own disciples who can take up different subjects. Like, say, for example, in your case, you are a painter, you are also, doing the apiary work, you're keeping bees, you're doing farming, you're doing, gardening. There are so many subjects which you are doing and which you are good at. So if we were to incorporate those subjects along with some other subjects as well, which can give the child the growth which they are looking for in this world. And that is what I am also aiming to establish and do.
Yes, Guruji. When it comes to mentors, is it a failure of society, of adults to become those mentors for children?
Yes, we are all driven by money. People have come out of the school and college, and the first thing that they are looking for are jobs which are going to pay them very well. Mentorship is not like that. It is literally you're putting your heart and soul in the subject and offering it to the child. See, you need mentors who are selfless. Selfless in the sense they are not bothered about money, they are not bothered about the time. If they have to give their life for the child, they are basically going to go out of the way for doing that thing. See, think like this. Today, if I have a mentor who is very busy as a doctor, you think he will have time to come and teach me anything? I don't think so. Because in this dog eat dog world, what happens is the person becomes busy in his life. They cannot be good parents also because they don't spend time with their children. You have to spend a lot of time with your children to develop them well, especially from the age of 1 to 8. That is the first formative years. It is very important to develop the child then, because that is when their connections are happening in their brains and their body. After that, they are going to adapt to the subjects which are going to come in their life. But these formative years are very important. And a parent, along with the teacher and others, and this mentor, has to be around to guide them. And so I feel that we need to have mentors in our life for the children. And we have to find people whom we can train in this kind of subjects. So what we are doing in our world is we have created this thing called the Way of Life program, where 8 different aspects are taught to the person who is doing this program. And it is expected that the person learns and then implements them in his life and also the lives of his children and the surroundings. And he takes it forward. That is the main motivation behind doing this.
Yes, Guruji. You have identified the child's pressure to have to come up with good marks, that they're just learning things by rote and they're not incorporating them, or they're not able to use that knowledge going forward. How would you do that differently?
If I have to encourage the children not to look at marks but other things, I would suggest that marks should contribute around 30 to 40% of whatever that they do in their school. The rest of it should be actually in terms of physical activity which they may be doing, like projects and those kind of things. They have to do social service also. They have to go out and help the world also. And they should be given things. Like, say, for example, there is a young child, and I am telling the parent to use the small computers that you get, very tiny ones, in a Raspberry Pi and all that. Why not give the child this kind of things, or give him a robot, that robot which you can assemble, and try to give the child the knowledge. I have seen this one child who comes to me over here is so good at even asking ChatGPT. He's just 5 years old. But he takes his mother's phone and asks the ChatGPT, which is the fastest car? What does this car do? Why does it go so far? I mean, you can imagine this is what the child is using the ChatGPT for. I think tools are important, activities are important, projects are important, and we have to give them practical knowledge and understanding, going out in the world and working around. And that is extremely important. And their thinking has to be much more logical, the way in which they understand logic and they can use their brains for solving issues and problems which may seem beyond their age. Sometimes we have to give them problems to try to understand how they would be able to solve them. And more number of subjects need to be introduced. When I say more number of subjects, not in the form of a curriculum, but just giving a small understanding what happens in the Arctic, what happens in the Antarctic, what are the different types of creatures that are there, what are the different types of animals, what is the speed of this, what is the speed of that. Can you see some videos and stuff like that? Those kind of activities need to be a part and parcel of the child's growth program. And then instead of the marks, he will focus on all these other things. So 60% of his workload should be more like that, which will open his mind towards all the beautiful things in the world.
Yes, Guruji. It does take a lot of input from the parents. How do you suggest that parents be more involved in their children's education?
See, parents should be given the choice of taking out at least 10-20% of their time in developing the skills for their children. Think like this. If I am going to work and I'm going to put all my heart and soul in the job that I have, you think I will be interested in my child's growth? I am not. So what has happened in India today, there are parents, they are relying on outside factors. People want their children to learn karate, taekwondo, chess, skating, boards, these, all those things. They are paying a whole load of fees for that. I am not talking of fees over here. I'm talking of service to mankind. These are professionals. If I am joining a class which is a dance class and the person is charging me a bomb, what is the point of that class? So I am driven finally by money, isn't it? Got the point? It is not that I want to do service to mankind. You can say, okay, I want to do service to mankind. Then why are you taking money? In the world of spiritual, we are not looking at money. No doubt about it. The ashrams and the gurukuls have to be run. So somebody is there some institution like what we say as an NGO or something like that, or a trust or a foundation which runs the whole show. Here I am talking of something like that. It's an NGO. It's a foundation or something like that, giving that kind of an education to the child. Now, in this, the parents can volunteer. I know this subject and I am willing to teach this subject. It is really going to do human service to the mankind. Believe me. But to find this kind of parents all over the world, it's not so easy. Because nobody is interested in service. See, where in olden times, people used to give tuitions and little bit of teaching they would do outside their life. There were no distractions that time. See, what are the distractions today? There is computers, there is phones, the television, there are various types of games going on, matches and this and that. So the parents are going there. For them, this has no value. But they have to find. That's why I said 10 to 20% of their time they have to devote to this cause alone. Leave aside your phones, leave aside all those movies that you're watching, or Netflix, or the television that you're watching, or the soap operas that you're watching. What is the point of that? Can you do some service to mankind? Help the children around.
Yes. You had pointed out where the parent wanted to keep that top teacher for themselves and not have the other child exposed to that teacher. How can you stop that kind of behavior? What changes that?
If you come to my world, which is the world of spirituality, we teach people in the world of spiritual a lot of things which control the mind. There are lots of things which we become anxious with. We have anxiety, neurosis, we have, nervousness, we have things like stress and strain. There is no peace in this world. These are contributing towards these behavioral patterns. Spirituality teaches you how to become peaceful and calm. It tells you that there are methods which we can use in the world of spiritual, which can help you grow in your personal life as well. That means in your material worldly life. So one of the important subjects that needs to be introduced to these children is spirituality. I'm not saying religion. Please don't include religion in this. At least introduce the subject of spirituality so that the children will learn how to share, how to become good. See, think about it. Nobody teaches them this. Nobody. Except unless and until you have these religious classes going on and those kind of things. But then the people do not want those kind of things in this world. And that makes the parent and the child become very competitive in this world. They are out in this world with what we call as, the negative qualities. Anger, lust, greed, it comes in the person. Spiritual teaches you to become calmer, control your anger. Don't go after money. Don't run after money. Money will anyway come to you. You will become rich whenever the time is right. And can you be peaceful? Can you take care of this world? Can you be a little helpful? Can you donate generously? Become very charitable in life? All these qualities are taught in spiritual. And that way, if we were to give this kind of education to the children and the parents as well, of course, because they need it more desperately than the child. So then I think we can have a much balanced world around us.
Yes, Guruji. You had brought up that there were limited subjects being taught and that, for example, the history may not be as important as current events. How does that get incorporated in lessons for children?
I will give you an example of Leonardo da Vinci. Now, Leonardo da Vinci was trained by his own masters in two different places. If you go and study his biography, you will come to know. And here was a person who was literally an expert in everything. Just imagine that. He has so many abilities which you can see from the works that he has left behind. As a sculptor, as a painter, as a scientist, he had even had drawings of aircrafts. Imagine 500 years ago, and he had proven how we can build even bridges. How many subjects came into the picture? A whole load of subjects came into the picture. Now tell me something. Do you think that your child, whoever is listening to this, your child is incapable of doing this? I don't think so. People say, oh, my child is not intelligent. No, 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 no. You're missing the point. You will find that even in spirituality, we have Ashtavakra who was meant at 8 places. But he was a genius. How can you do that? Well, you have to be trained in that subject matters, You have to be an expert in this field. And that is how you can be that. You will find examples of Sri Rama or Sri Krishna or all these great people from the past. We call them gods also. They went to Gurukul and they learned so many subjects, lot of subjects. So if I have to put these things together so that I can give the child a much adaptable kind of education and knowledge. It's a knowledge-based education with practical application. All this put together, then I think I have made it. So I should include a lot more subjects like this, which can help the growing brain. The child's brain is growing with the ideas and encourage the child in the ideation which he does. See what happens. We have to sit down and write and create those ideas in our own head. And then we put it forward. Imagine if you are an architect and you are given a project, design a new building or something like that. Are you not going to sit down and think and then create that thing? So first you create it in your mind. So training the mind in adapting to this new kind of things is very important. Today is a world of technology where we are using so much of technology. It must have come from somebody's brain somewhere. Somebody used his brain to solve that simple thing. And today we can use it. So that is the reason why subjects, we have to at least introduce 8 or 10 new subjects per year. The child will then show the ability in some, and in some he may not like it. And some he may say, I don't want to do this. So we have to find and weed out those subjects which are useful for the child. In olden times, there used to be this program where they would find out your IQ and those kind of things. In schools, they used to run these programs. And then they will say that this child is good in science and technology and this and that. They will say these kind of things. But that was the end of it. Just doing that IQ test and just getting one certificate from them saying that, oh, he is good in this subject. Why was the school doing it? Because the government insisted that you do it. They were not interested in it. Just because they have to get one tick, okay, I have done this. Okay, I have done this. That is why they were doing. There was no real interest in it. So the child's growth is not going to happen. And we have to keep our heads to the ground and listen to every nuance of whatever the child is doing in this world, See how he is reacting and learn what he is doing and give him that much of encouragement. And that will happen where the onus is with the parents as well. The parents have to take the onus of doing this, which translates into the parents have to become intelligent first, isn't it? So if the parents have already decided that I don't want to do school, I don't want to do college, I don't want to do studies, they've already decided on that. No, they have to start learning, not for themselves, but for the betterment of their child and others as well. So parents should contribute towards this. I think then we are talking of an utopian world, otherwise not.
Yes, Guruji. Thank you, Guruji. If you have enjoyed this presentation and would like to be informed of new presentations, remember to like, share, and subscribe or follow. Thank you.